Welcome back, Kings. Today we'll be concluding the series Eminence in Shadow, with only 3 episodes left to go. This anime has been great, and I'm sure we've all enjoyed it. But really quickly, wow, thank you all so much for getting me so close to 1,000 subscribers. If you wouldn't mind, please consider subscribing to help me out. And remember, you can always unsubscribe in the future if you're not a fan of the content. With that being said, let's jump straight into it. Claire, Kajinu's sister, yells at him for being late everywhere. Furious, she tries to scare Kajinu by attempting to suffocate him, but she relents after receiving assurances from him that he will keep his promises and be on time everywhere she calls him from now on. Then Claire hands him a ticket for the Bushin Festival. She informs him that the Academy has chosen her to replace Prince Rose and warns him to attend the festival at all costs to witness her fight. He promises to be there to cheer her on and watch her fight. The Bushin Festival day has arrived. Kajinu arrives at the festival and discovers that his sister gave him a VIP seat rather than a regular reserved seat ticket. His seat is next to Iris Midgar. Iris recognizes him as Claire's brother and informs him that he is in the right seat. She informs him that she will add Claire to her order after she graduates. Iris also expresses her regret to Kajinu for the Xenon Griffey incident. Seeing Kajinu sit next to Iris draws the crowd's attention, which Kajinu considers unfavorable for a background character like him. However, Kajinu is unable to leave the festival because he must keep his promise to Claire. A few youngsters inquire if any competitors caught Iris' attention during the festival. Iris responds that she enjoys watching Enrose fight and thinks she will finish second in the competition after her because she believes she cannot be defeated. Kajinu mentions Mundane Man's fighting abilities, but the 2 teenagers inform him that he is only quick and fortunate, but isn't that strong to compete with Iris. He revels in the fact that he expertly fostered Mundane's public image. Iris claims that she also enjoys watching an elf who won the inaugural Bushin Festival tournament, but isn't currently competing. The students recognize her as Beatrix, and Kajinu realizes that he not only knows Beatrix but that she is famous almost everywhere. Having had enough of these discussions, Kajinu excuses his departure with a pathetic justification. On his way, he senses the presence of someone powerful and finds that she is Beatrix. Beatrix asks him if he has seen an elf who resembles her, to which he replies that he hasn't even seen any elf beside her. She gives one of her excess burgers to Sid. Sid gives her one of his hamburgers as a way of saying thanks. In the meantime, Perv Asshat takes Kajinu's seat. He informs Iris that his king will be attending the event the very next day. Iris's father will also be attending the festival tomorrow. Perv then notices Enrose entering the battlefield. He has overheard that she is now on a training pilgrimage, and would dearly love to extend an invitation to her to join his realm. Iris also claims that a fighter of her caliber would be useful to her realm. Perv inquires about her thoughts on Eneros' rival, Mundane Man. Iris mentions seeing him for the very first time, yet he doesn't appear to be that potent. But still, she is unsure about Eneros' victory because Mundane has no fear in his eyes, which is unusual for a mediocre fighter. The duel between Mundane Man and Enrose begins. Enrose swiftly closes the gap and begins striking, but Mundane deflects all of her blows. She finds a chance to overcome him and whacks him, only to discover that it was merely an afterimage made by Mundane. Enrose recognizes that counterattacking him is the only way to win this duel. She waits for him to attack before making an attempt to retaliate, but Mundane once more deflects all of her blows, causing her to believe that he is unbeatable. Finally, Mundane strikes him and quickly wins the duel, leaving everyone, even Iris, speechless. Iris is baffled that someone as skilled as Mundane went unseen for such a long time. Perv mentions that the following round will pit Iris against Mundane, and asks if she is hopeful she can overcome him. Iris claims that if it was his utmost power, she could defeat him. After leaving, Perv instructs his worker to look into Mundane, adding that he may be a threat if he is supported by the lawless city. Here, Enrose commends Mundane's fighting prowess. She informs him that she left her home nation to grow stronger and had thought she was the strongest until she faced him. She marvels at how he got so powerful, and Mundane says he gave up everything in his quest for power. Following a brief chat, Kaginu heads home. On his way back home, he mulls over how to end what he's doing, such as whether after defeating Iris he should simply vanish, indicating that his work is done, or whether he should go the dark road and pose as an assassin from a secret organization. He arrives home thinking about this. There, Claire is awaiting him. She inquires as to whether he enjoyed her match. Hearing this, Kaginu realizes she is going to kill him since he missed her match. The next morning, while practicing, Iris reflects on her journey from being a kid who won all of her fighting contests to who she is now. She is driven to produce results and demonstrate her capacity for resistance to divine teachings. Finally, the moment for the next battle is approaching. Kaginu arrives at the seating area. He is now relishing his VIP seat as the maids bring him everything he desires for free. Iris sits next to him, assuming he's there to support his sister. She informs him that she, too, has a fight today. A short while later, Iris overhears the guards halting a woman with a blade and demanding that she hand it over to them. Iris recognizes the lady as Beatrix and informs the guards that she has been invited by her. Everyone gets excited when they see Beatrix for the first time and gathers around her. Beatrix takes advantage of the opportunity and asks if anyone has seen her niece, but no one has. They also question if she has a favorite contender, and Beatrix says he is Kaginu. Hearing this, many are startled since Kaginu isn't so talented, and some begin to doubt Beatrix's ability. Perv poisons King Oriana once more, but this time he is irritated by how the medicine sweetens his odor and instructs his men to disguise it with fragrances. Perv believes Rose will come to help her dad and adds that because she has shown symptoms of possession, she will become perfect material for the cult's testing. In the case that Rose fails to arrive, Perv plans to employ King Oriana to assassinate King Midgar, which will lead to a war between the two kingdoms. Perv thinks the ideal time to move will be during Iris' match and aims to use the new monarch of Midgar as his puppet. However, he is still concerned about Mundane Man because he couldn't uncover any information about him. Perv is also concerned about Shadow Garden, believing that they are collaborating with Rose. He enters the VIP section, and as he walks by Beatrix, she mentions that he and the king smell horrible. Infuriated, Perv orders to kick her out, but Iris intervenes and reveals to him that she is Beatrix, the war goddess. Perv immediately apologizes to her after learning this. He settles into his chair and begins to think about Beatrix, assuming he must also get rid of her. He also muses over his capacity for dispatching the king of Midgar but believes that all will be well if Rose makes an appearance. After some time, the first battle concludes with Claire triumphant. Iris then prepares for her contest with Mundane Man. The moment the combat begins, Iris leaps back in panic as she finds her head exploding. She is taken aback by what she has done, so she recovers and gets up. She suddenly feels like she's losing her leg and learns that Mundane has the entire battlefield under his control. In the meantime, Rose arrives at the festival and heads towards the VIP seating but encounters dead cultists on her way. Behind her, Beta and other members of the Shadow Garden appear out of nowhere and give her the green signal that she can go on and fulfill her task. Iris, meanwhile, continues to feel as though Mundane's strikes are causing her to lose limbs. She knows she feels this way because of the expression in his eyes and because each time he gently moves his gravity center, indicating that it is done by his power rather than an artifact. Iris fans start to lose patience with her as they perceive fear in her as she continues to retreat. Iris becomes enraged and strikes, but she quickly learns that Mundane isn't even brandishing his sword. Everything he did was intended to lead her to believe he was waving his blade. Then Mundane takes her blade from her hand and grabs her by the throat, bringing her to the ground. Now with his blade at her throat, Mundane mocks her, asking whether she has used all of her skills or if there is anything else she can do. Perv can't believe it when Iris loses the combat without inflicting even a single scratch on Mundane. After seeing Mundane's battle, Beatrix declares her desire to confront him. Then Rose appears in front of everyone and expresses her regret to her father. She admits that she has done many things wrong and is probably going to do so again, but she vows that she will continue on the track she believes to be correct. All of her misdeeds are forgiven by King Oriana. Perv is astonished because he didn't tell him to say that. Rose screams and leaps at Perv, who then uses the king as a cover, but Rose continues and stabs the king, bewildering everyone. The king confesses his love to Rose in the final seconds before his death. Perv is enraged by how effortlessly she murdered her father. When he notices Rose with her blade at her neck, he commands his men to stop her. In the nick of time, Mundane makes a dramatic entry from the window. He asks if Rose made that decision while slaying Perv's men. Following this, Mundane declares that it is time for him to reveal his true identity and ends up turning to Shadow. Rose refers to him as the stylish bandit killer. Watching him fight reminded her of a time when Kajino had rescued her from thugs and introduced himself as the stylish bandit Slayer. Rose is bewildered to discover that Shadow was the stylish bandit slayer, and that even as a small child, he faced his fears and battled evils. Shadow informs her that her work is not over. Rose then gets up and walks away. Perv attempts to stop her, but the other members of the Shadow Garden have already dispatched all of his men. Beatrix then promises to carry out her promise and lunges at Shadow. Perv takes advantage of the opportunity to flee as their swords collide. The King of Midgar is warned that the combat between Shadow and Beatrix may extend beyond the stadium's boundaries. When the monarch inquires about Perv, he is notified that he is on his way to the borders on a cart and would most probably return to the Oriana Kingdom without pausing at the embassy. They're also looking after Oriana King's body. King Midgar instructs them to go through Marquis Grant, the leader of the anti-chancellor faction, while delivering it to the Oriana Kingdom, and to brace themselves as the evil that has lurked since antiquity has taken on a darker tint. On the other side, the battle between Beatrix and Shadow is still ongoing. Shadow is much faster than she expected and begins to close in on her quickly. She only just manages to see him in time to avoid being attacked by him. Iris also arrives and declares her desire to join the battle. Shadow notices that she is drawing a sword and that it is a mithril blade engraved with archaic runes. He makes fun of her for employing an artifact. Iris becomes irate and strikes at Shadow with the blade, which has transformed into a huge fire sword. Shadow effortlessly sidesteps the blow and claims that it has good aesthetics and is better suited for a festival performance. After that, Beatrix assaults him, and Iris joins Beatrix in combat with Shadow. Their fight goes around the city, and they finally manage to shove him into a construction area. After that, Shadow grabs 2 crowbars and quickly deflects Beatrix and Iris blows. They continue fighting until they are on top of a train, where Shadow makes fun of them and warns them to be careful not to fall. In the meantime, Rose has left the arena and is unsure of what to do next. She is confronted by Alpha, who offers her the choice between fighting alongside Shadow Garden or continuing to battle on her own. Rose asks Alpha if they plan to defend Oriana Kingdom, but Alpha responds that they won't be able to help her in her current state, and that she must first prove her value if she wants to keep her nation. After giving it some thought, Rose chooses to join the Shadow Garden. During the fight, Beatrix muses over whether she and Shadow have ever encountered each other before. Shadow claims to recall formidable foes, but he questions whether they were really impressive for him to recall them. He dives into the river and launches water at them, employing magic, but he soon realizes that wizardry doesn't flow well in regular water. He throws Iris into the water, but Beatrix tackles him and breaks his crowbar. As they continue fighting, they arrive at a building, where Beatrix is attacked from behind by Shadow, but she effortlessly repels him because she has grown accustomed to his attacks. Shadow commends her and adds that while they are nearly comparable in terms of swordplay, her use of magic should be improved. Iris immediately attacks, but Shadow blocks her blow with his fist and declares that he cannot be vanquished by using someone else's might. Iris assures Beatrix that she will render him helpless, even if it means risking her life so that Beatrix can subsequently dispatch him. Iris lunges towards Shadow, letting go of her sword as she strikes it, and reaches out to grab him, but Shadow punches her in the face with his knee. Beatrix completes powering her strike, and with this hit, she successfully strikes Shadow's sword. However, he again evades her assault, grabs her, and smashes her over Iris before stomping both of them. Shadow tries to depart, but the girls get to their feet, and Iris informs him every warrior in the city ought to kill him, so there is nowhere for him to hide since he has made the entire kingdom into his adversary. But to their surprise, Shadow bursts into uncontrollable laughter and declares he is not running anywhere. He then shows his power, engulfing much of the city, and declares that playtime is finished. The girls are astounded by his strength. Shadow begins casting the I Am Atomic attack but ends it before it is finished and walks away. Iris gets to her knees and begins to weep when she notices him gone. Mordred expressed his dissatisfaction with Perv in the Oriana Kingdom to the extent that he was compelled to ask for his superior's pardon for his blunder. Perv also informs his supervisors that, as long as the cult controls the royals, Rose would be unable to remain hidden. Perv is confident that Rose can't ignore Oriana's predicament and will undoubtedly return because things are already very chaotic due to the death of their king. Mordred expresses his optimism about this and cautions Perv not to let him down too badly. The following day, Beatrix departs the city after being dissatisfied with her search results. She advises Iris not to take her loss too seriously because there are many things that humans cannot overcome. While Midgar Kingdom searches for Shadow, Beta surmises that this was Shadow's intention, to keep them busy with himself and away from the events in Oriana Kingdom. They resolve to wrap up the investigation quickly and dispatch additional personnel to look into the lawless city and keep a careful check on the major corporate alliance because Shadow is actively getting involved. With the commencement of the new academic year, Kajanu questions where Skell is. Pa says he accepted a job that would last a while. Pa laments that he was not inside the city when the demon Shadow came and engulfed the nation's capital in magic, as this must have scared many girls who would have needed comfort, and that he would have been delighted to help those lovely girls. Kajanu swiftly shifts the topic and expresses worry that what he did has become so well known. In the meantime, Rose and Alpha arrive at the Kajanu realm. After that, Alpha says that they are moving farther into the forests and past the mountain. Rose is taken aback as mystical animals invade the area. Alpha informs her that when Shadow visited the mountains, he vanquished the Mist Dragon, who had crowned Shadow Emperor of this realm, and drenched him in dragon's breath. When they arrive at their intended location in the forest, Alpha informs them that they are at the headquarters of Shadow Garden, which is located in the old city of Alexandria. Rose is introduced to Lambda by Alpha, who also instructs Lambda to train the recruit. Lambda calls 664 and 665 and informs them that Rose will be joining their team as member number 666. Rose's clothing is then taken off by Lambda, who informs her that she is now a nobody and is giving everything up to become a pristine, untainted soldier. Rose shrieks in sheer panic as she stares in terror as the burger wrapper Kajanu gave her gets torn to pieces. Back at the underground ruins, Shadow begins to play Moonlight Sonata again as the feathers fall around him. He asserts that everything has been proceeding in line with his plans, but the hour of waking will soon arrive. Shadow finishes his play and walks away, letting one black feather fall to the piano keys, and this is where this anime ends. That's all for today, Kings. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe for more recaps coming your way. I'll see you all very soon.